Santa Factory! Merry Christmas, everyone! And like usual, for the final review of the year before my top 10 best and worst list, I like to do a Christmas theme review. And this year I really only had one game to choose from, as I've done every other game for the Wii U that was Christmas themed. Christmas games are always hit and miss, with great games like We Wish You a Merry Christmas, or bad ones like Rudolph the Red-Nosed Reindeer. This one's a bit hard to narrow down though. It's in no way a good game though, let's just make that clear. But it's an educational game disguised as an actual game. As an educational game, it's serviceable. But as a video game, it's a cluster of problems and bad game design decisions. Now, just to be clear here, Santa Factory is not the story of how those mall Santas are born. But if it was, that'd be kind of cool. Let's solve that mystery. In fact, the story is kind of all over the map. So the story is about an elf who needs to collect Santa's letters. Then for some reason, this elf needs to shrink down to get these letters. But you would think it would make it even harder. Then all of a sudden, the elf is gone and you're a reindeer collecting presents. Wait, what happened to the elf? Did he ever get unshrunk? Did we get all the letters? Why am I a reindeer collecting presents now? How did that happen? He'll just change the tone and shift of the gameplay and not explain it. This is one of the many gameplay decisions that just don't make any sense. They seem to design levels without any real care to the flow of the story, or honestly the fun of the gameplay itself. In fact, I didn't even know there was an official story till I was messing around in the menus, and almost each of the worlds have a story on the gamepad. Not that it makes more sense with the level design, but why not put this in the game? It does a terrible job explaining your motivations. And this doesn't just apply to the story. The gameplay itself is not well defined at all. The whole gimmick of the game itself is that you could draw on the screen when you collect a candy cane. But the things you could draw are very rudimentary. Mostly just lines, circles, or simple shapes. One drawing per candy cane. They give you plenty of candy canes to draw with. Plus you can get one back if you click on the line that you made to make it disappear. The problem with the gameplay is that it's just too simple. It's just a different version of the same level over and over again. Sometimes they add in buttons to press, or obstacles to get around. But usually this was just as simple as draw a line to get around it. Until about 80% of the way in, when one of the exits was blocked and I had no way of breaking it, in my frustration I was just hitting buttons when I noticed my candy cane changed colors. Apparently there are other ways you could draw a line. Frozen ones make you slide for some reason. I never really needed that. Then there's the metal version which you could use to break down blocks. Okay, how do you make gameplay that you can go almost entirely through a game and not explain there's different ways to use your gimmick? This should have been done in level 1. It was so frustrating. The letters or presents that you collect have words or pictures in them, and at the end of the level you have to match up the words with the pictures. You get 20 points per correct answer, and the goal is to get all 5 for 100 points. If you don't do it, nothing happens. Santa just looks upset. Kind of like, man, that kid is illiterate. But he still lets you move on to the next level. So you would think you would need to collect all the 5 letters or presents in each world to advance to the goal. I mean, that sounds like basic level design, right? Nope. You don't have to collect anything. Just walk to the goal and you're done. They even give you all the words and pictures to line up. And you can still get 100 points and get a perfect level, even if you didn't bother to get one item. It works against even playing the level since you automatically win if you just get to the end and answer 5 simple questions. Plus, there were just little things that were annoying. Like when you were on moving platforms and you wouldn't ride with it. It would move without you. So you're constantly having to move your character to keep yourself on these platforms. I mean, like normal platform design has you moving with the platform. So you're going to constantly having to move your character while trying to draw a line on the gamepad. And I think that might be kind of hard for younger kids. Also, when you want to move on to the next level, it would default to return to the main menu instead of going to the next level. Every time you need to move your cursor over 2 spaces to play the next level. It was just an odd thing to not encourage people to keep playing. Santa Factory was meh. I know this is an educational game, but I can see the gameplay itself boring a young child, or even frustrating them in the later levels with those moving platforms. Also, graphically, it wasn't very impressive. The biggest problem right now isn't any of the ones that I mentioned. It's the $7.99 price tag for this. 60 short levels for $8. Yes, you could say it's for the educational value, and that's why it's so much. But to get to that part, you really do need to complete some pretty boring gameplay. The way I think about it is that the $7.99 I spent on this was my Christmas gift to the creator of this game. I hope you enjoy it. As for anybody else, I would just skip this.